Hello. In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to dominate Ascent as a Cypher main. I've made a defense guide if you want to check that out, but now we're focusing on attack because I think not many Cyphers do that. So I will make you the best Cypher main on Ascent. So let's go. Okay, so we're going to start off with Tripwires on A and how to lurk towards A, then Tripwires on B and how to lurk towards B. Mid is included in both A and the B part of this video because it's kind of together. So don't worry about that. All of it's going to be covered. So the first tripwire you want to do for A site is this one to kind of just prevent the flank, especially if you guys are all pushing A site. Anybody who's coming from CT, anybody who's coming from mid will end up here. You can also do this tripwire, which is perfectly fine, no problem. The reason I like doing this one though is because it's a little bit further out, so people will hit the tripwire earlier, so you just get that fraction of a second to react sooner, which is why I like this tripwire. If you want a slightly harder to break one, you can do it inside if you want. Just like that, so then they can only break it from one way. But if they're out here, then they're more likely to see your team if you have someone doing lineups. But all of these tripwires are fantastic. If you don't have money to buy a tripwire, maybe you are just broke in game. I'm broke in real life, but in game. So what you can do is you can just put a camera on this flower and it watches all of mid. It can also watch anybody flanking you, but you gotta be in your camera quite a bit. But if you leave it like this, it pretty much gives you all the vision you need. All of mid's being watched, catwalks watched, and anybody who's pushing you from from your spawn, I mean. Your cam's going to see that. Boom, you just activate it every now and then, you're sorted. You can even wait here. Boom. So you ping someone with the cam as he's pushing out, he takes a dart out. Kill him. If you are, let's say your teammates are pushing B or they're pushing mid, or the enemy team likes pushing out of A main. What does this mean? This means you can just do a tripwire to prevent that. So to prevent people pushing out of A, you can do something like this if you want. And then you can play off the tripwire. So you can play down here. They hit the tripwire, you peek off, bang. You can also bring the tripwire out a little bit if you don't want them to hide anywhere. Or if you don't want them running back or, boom. Or you can play behind this box and wallbang them. If they get revealed by the tripwire, boom, boom, boom. And then have a cage set up here. So they get revealed by the tripwire, boom, boom, boom. Activate the cage, walk into it, and hop away. So that's kind of how you want to deal with people pushing out of A main. Do not put your tripwire in this area, because if an enemy has like a raise grenade that they throw early, this tripwire is going to break. And also, when you put tripwires where the enemies are already going to be looking, they can see the tripwire being placed, so they'll know you're in that area. So now you've just given your position away. That's not really too good, especially if you're lurking or holding flank. So don't put the tripwire very early. Don't put it at the entrance, because pretend I'm the enemy. I can see it being placed down. Yeah, I won't see the line, but I'll see the animation happen. And, boom. Yeah, I can just walk out here. I can break it if I want to. Or I can just use a util to clear it, and your flank watch isn't going to be the greatest. Now, if you are pushing A site, let's say you've got your one tripwire watching behind you like this, lovely stuff. Now, if you are pushing A site, so with your team, maybe they've omen smoked this off. Maybe your duelists are a little bit scared. Maybe they're scaredy cats. What you can do is you can actually put your camera anywhere on site, really. So get a little bit close and then place your cam in this general area like this. You can do it pretty safe. You can either place it on this corner if you want, or you can place it on site a little bit, just like that. You're relatively safe when doing this. This is watching all of trees, it's watching all of sight, and it's watching heaven. You can use this cam as like your Sova drone, this cam as your duelist, because your duelist sometimes ain't going to push in. Your duelist, maybe he's having a bad day, maybe he's just, his brain's turned off, he doesn't want to push. Your cam will do this, and now people will be distracted on your cam, they'll be looking up, then your duelist can push out onto site. So this is kind of like, you're kind of hoping the enemy shoots this. If they don't shoot this, you just got free vision of the entire site, which is quite nice. So I suggest doing that cam if you can. Let's say you are on site, usually you'll have one tripwire behind you, then you can keep another one. This second tripwire you can either put here. So if this door gets broken and enemies try to retake site this way, they're going to bump into this tripwire. You can have a cage set up here. You can play over here maybe. They hit the tripwire, activate the cage, free kill. Maybe even two, because they usually like pushing out together. So that's nice. What you could also do, let's say you don't want to put your tripwire there. Let's say what you can do, let's say you don't want to put your camera there, I mean, you can put your cam up for heaven like this, and then you can play under heaven. Boom. Now, people, if they don't see anyone heaven, if the enemy doesn't see anybody heaven, and you land the camera dart on them, they usually will just take it out anyway here. They'll just take it out in the open thinking they're safe, but what they don't know is you can just wallbang all of this. What you can also do, and what people don't realize, is you can actually wallbang this ledge to kill people that are hiding here, or taking a dart out here, or running away towards garden. You can actually land a couple bullets on them. So that's also pretty nice. Now, on site, you can do many different setups. One I like doing is this tripwire, like this. So you place it on this dark part of this brick, on this little stone box, to get a pretty nice tripwire. So anybody who's dropped out of heaven and wants to push towards generator is going to get caught. You can also put a tripwire inside the generator like this, and it goes all the way across. So it's like a reverse version of this. If somebody comes out over here, they can't really push backside. They can't really push underneath heaven. So if you are playing here and someone gets caught by any one of those tripwires, you can actually just wallbang through this, which is also pretty nice. Look. Ta-da. So these are some pretty nice tripwires you can do if you want to hold down the site against the defenders on A site. Especially once you've taken the site control. Pretty nice. If your teammates are going A site,
here.
If they're rushing A site but you want to lurk, then I suggest you lurk from catwalk. I don't suggest you lurk onto B and then go A. It's going to take way too long no matter what. If your teammates are playing a little bit slower on A, then what you can do is you can start off link like this and then place a tripwire like this. A little bit later, maybe if they raise nade or silver shock, wait for that, then place a tripwire. And then you can lurk towards A by just waiting and holding the flank like this. If someone pushes out of mid-bottom, you're here. If someone pushes out of catwalk, you're here. You can see all of it happen. You can kill them, and then you can commit to your flank. Then you can push up this way. Then, once you're in this area, you have the option to either go trees and help your team. If your teammates are moving a little bit quick, or maybe they're struggling, or maybe they haven't actually pushed out of A main yet, then go trees and make a little bit of noise so the people on site get distracted and start looking at you. So if you here, make a little bit of noise, maybe chuck a couple shots in, chuck a cage in. So now their attention is towards trees. Then your teammates can push out onto site, and then you can also back them up. But if your teammates are already on site, or maybe, you know, they're making progress, maybe they've already taken the site pretty easily, then you can actually come into this way. Just be careful, because there usually is some stinky omen who's either hiding up here, or there might be a guy holding an off angle by the switch like this, holding your market area like this, maybe with an operator. So just be careful. So make sure you're clearing everything properly. You know, don't swing out like this. Just nice little things, jiggle in and out, jiggle in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. Because if you just wide swing like this, you're exposed to so many different positions. You can't clear everything at once. You might die. So in, out, and then slowly, 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 boom. And then once you get to this corner, you've won the game. Because if anybody is rotating, you can hear that. They won't expect someone to be down here, especially if the site's already been taken. So then once you hear them, boom, boom, boom. Now you have the option, boom. Once you kill them, you can either go up heaven, or you can go into garden. So you're just playing mind games at that point. Now they don't know. You're in their spawn, but are you heaven? Are you garden? They don't know that they've got to put two people watching you. Someone who's heaven has to watch you, and someone in trees has to watch you. So you've just slowed the enemy's retake out onto site. You're a genius. You're the best Cypher. You've saved your team. You've won the game. That's how you lurk onto A from mid. I did want to get some clips in, but I've got uni assignments to do all the way until like January. And it's my final year, so I'm not able to play Valorant as much. So I'm just trying to make as many videos as I can in the meantime. So I haven't been able to play, so I haven't been able to give you as many clips. But this stuff really does work, and you have to trust me on this. Now, if you guys are pushing B sites, let's say this, just to hold a flank, this one's the best tripwire you can do. So you want to put it at the edge of this wooden bar, like this. You can also put it inside, like this if you want, but I suggest leaving it as far out as you can. So this one, fantastic, beautiful. Anybody who's in your spawn, so enemies flanking you this way, are going to get stuck here. Any enemies pushing out of mid are going to get stuck here. It's pretty nice. I've seen people use this tripwire to hold the flank. This is also fine. It's great. The only downside is if an enemy does use utility at the start of the round, so like a raise nade or Sova darts, it's going to end up here. And it's not too good because it's going to break. Whereas if you leave this tripwire down, it's not going to break because it raise nade and stuff usually finishes exploding around this area, so it won't touch that tripwire, so you're pretty much safe. So that's why it's a pretty good tripwire. Also, it reveals the people early, so you get a second extra to react, to, you know, to then change your plan. So it's pretty nice. And another downside of having this tripwire, even though it's a pretty good tripwire, both are insane. But another downside is the enemy can actually walk into this corner and just wait, especially if, let's say, the enemy team has a really strong B defense, and maybe you guys are just hanging around waiting. And if somebody does get up, they can actually wait here. They can actually walk into this area, you know, and hold you. So that's why this tripwire is not the best, but it's still pretty good. This tripwire is really good if you are playing in this area, if you're lurking in this area, because then what that means is enemies actually can't push out, because this tripwire allows enemies from B to push out. But if you're going to B, then this tripwire is fantastic. If you're holding the flank from B, then this is the tripwire you want to do. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Another thing, if you are pushing B site, you need to be careful of is the person who's holding you guys like this with an operator. What you can do, maybe your duelists aren't duelisting, then you can put a camera down just like that. When the barrier goes down, boom, you've cleared him. You can also see anybody who's pushing into this cubby area. So that's why this camera is fantastic. So you've cleared the angle, you don't have to peek him now. Or you can peek him after you reveal him with your cam. And now you've got free space, you've cleared out all of main. Let's say you have competent teammates who actually blind across this area. So then the guy who has the operator actually can no longer hold you and is forced to retreat. Then you can put a camera up here when the barrier goes down. Just like that. This lets you see into market, lets you see all of site, which is brilliant. So you technically cleared the site for your duelist. And you have basically, this is just a permanent Sova drone. You see in everything. You can also see anybody who's pushed into cubby or pushing out of cubby, so it's a pretty good camera to have. The only downside is, if you're using this camera to clear main, it's not going to be too good, because the guy with the operator can stand here in his normal spot and you won't see him at all. So you think it's clear, but it won't be. He'll surprise you and your teammates will be upset. Now, once you are out onto site, there are many different places you can play as Cypher. So if you're holding the site down, let's say you planted, you can play here. I wouldn't recommend playing here. I'll recommend playing here. Why? Because this is an off angle. You can use this, but I'll show you why this is an off angle. Because if an enemy is retaking from heaven, they want to clear this corner, right? So their crosshair is going to be here. But as their crosshair is here, you can be in this corner, waiting. And as the enemy will think, oh, it's clear. And as they're, you know, as they're coming out, you're going to be down here. It's an off angle. Boom. You can kill them. Yeah, it's so... You guys need to try this and let me know how it goes. Because it's so weird. People don't expect you to play here. They expect you to play here. Or here. That's why. And if you're here, you can also play off some nice tripwires. Like this. And then make sure you cage closer to you to give you room to move into the cage. And then you can move up here if you want. But you can use this cage to then reposition. Maybe just hop over to down here. Or use this cage to then hop into CT. So let's say you're over here. Somebody gets hit by your tripwire. Activate the cage. Boom. Now you can walk into the cage. You can use this cage because you're pretty much covered from CT. No one in CT can see you rotate here. You just need to be careful of market. But that's kind of how you want to play Cypher if you are playing here. You can also have a tripwire set up here. Like this. And then a cage like this maybe. And then when they hit the tripwire, boom, you can peek out and kill them this way, which is also pretty nice. I do suggest doing it. You can also have this tripwire, the same tripwire setup, and you can play here. You can put a cage over here. They hit the tripwire, boom. You can spray through the cage as they're being revealed by the tripwire, so it's pretty nice. You can also have a tripwire like this when you are actually on the site. And then once they hit that tripwire, you can wallbang all of this with your team. They're not going to have a nice time. And once you are on site, you can actually have a tripwire like this. Or if you want something a bit more fancy, you can stretch it out a little bit to kind of prevent anybody pushing out this way. So these are pretty good tripwires, and you can actually play from behind these boxes. If there's a tripwire like this, you can have a cage set up there.
Cage trigger.
You get over by the tripwire, you can wallbang through this. Or you can also have a tripwire set up at the bottom of these stairs, or in the middle of the stairs, maybe a cage. Enemies can't get past it. They can jump over it, but as they're jumping, you'll hear that, and you can peek them. They're going to get hit by this. You can play it safe, you can activate the cage and shoot them, or you can wallbang from here if there's more than one person. So you're relatively safe if you play here as Cypher, and that's kind of how you hold the B sites from the attackers. You can also have a cam set up this way to kind of have it as a retake cam, because as the enemies are pushing out, the camera is going to be behind them. So if enemies are retaking this way, the cam's here, boom, and then if they go back to try and take the dart out over here, you can wallbang them from this area, boom. So that's how you want to push B. If you are lurking, let's say your teammates are going B and you want to lurk, then I suggest you lurk from mid link again. You can hold this angle for a little bit, and then what you want to do when lurking B, you kind of just want to hold mid for any rotators, because people are going to rotate. People are going to come out of cubby. Someone is always going to do it. Someone's always going to overpeak cubby, or is going to rotate out. And as you hear him jumping out, bang, kill him this way. Or if you get into this area, wait for enemies to start making noise in market, and then slowly follow up. Slowly follow up. Tell your teammates that you've got a nice flank, and then kill the guys as they're sober droning to retake the site. So that's kind of how you want to play B if you are lurking. You can actually play lurk from catwalk to B. So from here. By that I mean you walk down catwalk as your teammates are making noise B. Make sure you're holding the angles. Make sure you're holding these two. Make sure you're constantly checking these corners. If no one's here, then you want to wait in this corner. People don't realize you can actually wait here. And as you're waiting here, you can actually catch anybody who's pushing out this way. So you'll be waiting up there. You'll kill the guy that's here. You can also catch people who are trying to flank you guys from here. So if they're pushing out this way, you're chilling here. He's going to be so confused. You get a kill, boom. And now you can push this way, or you can meet your team back that way. So you're so flexible as when lurking as a Cypher on this map. Lurking is a little bit more difficult on this map because obviously on other maps there's so many different ways to get onto site. But to really lurk on this map, you kind of have to end up at their spawn because mid's so far down. Mid is so close to the enemy spawn. You're going to meet more enemies as you're lurking. So that is a slight problem. But if you're playing slow and patient, you will be fine. If you are lurking onto B, then I suggest you keep this tripwire down. You don't have to put a tripwire on A site because it's going to take too long. Once you put a tripwire there, then you go all the way around. It's going to take too much time. So just one for your teammates on B and start lurking from mid link, because lurking from mid link is a lot more efficient than it is over here, because you have no escape tool. If someone swings you and you kill them and then someone else swings you, you've got no get out of jail free card. You don't have a chamber TP, you don't have a jet dash, you don't have an omen TP, you're kind of stuck. So coming from mid link, it's a little bit easier for you because you can clear out an angle one by one. Once this angle's cleared, then you can peek this way. Then you can shift up slowly, slowly, slowly. Whereas if you're lurking anywhere from catwalk, you're always exposed to this angle. You're always exposed to that angle. And then after a bit, you're then going to be exposed to this angle. So, you know, it's a little bit harder to do. But both ways are fine, and I've explained how to do them both. So you will be fine. Alright, that is the end of the video. I hope you guys all enjoyed that. I am doing free coaching on my Discord server, so do join that if you want some. I stream as regularly as I can. I'm going to upload as much as I can. Don't be afraid to give me video ideas, because I really do want to make the best possible videos I can. And I thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in my next one. So thank you.